Hints and tricks with QNAP. Today we're creating a Windows 11 VM with the Virtualization Station. In part A, we're creating a blank VM, and for this purpose, we need to download the Windows 11 installer. Here is a folder on my Mac, and here is a share mounted on the Mac from my QNAP. We're switching to the browser. We enter a string like this, which will provide us with the download site of Microsoft. We choose to download the ISO image. We confirm. Then we choose the language. I'm going to choose English International. Confirm again. And now we're ready to download the ISO. This download will take a while, so we're skipping this process. I have already downloaded the ISO image to my Mac, and now we're uploading it to a share on the QNAP. A few words on RAM usage with your VMs. In QTS Hero, CFS file system makes active use of the available RAM for its high-performance cache. In return, you have less RAM available to your VMs. In QTS, on the other hand, with its extension 4 file system, there is no RAM cache, so all available RAM is available to your VMs too. I'm going to show you how to adjust this in QTS Hero, and it's rather hidden indeed. We're starting the Storage Manager control panel, and this is going to be my first insider tip. We move to the right upper corner with the mouse and select Global Settings of the Storage Manager, and there indeed we will see a RAM section for the ARC, where we can choose the percentage which CFS is allowed to use for its high performance cache. We're proceeding with the creation of our blank Windows 11 image. In preparation, I'm going to create a dedicated share for the VM, but you could also just create a folder. With a shared folder, we have some options in QTS Hero. I'm giving it a meaningful name, and in advanced settings, I am choosing 64 or 32K, which is ideal for typical VMs. If you go below, the VM might slow down. Now we're ready to heading over to the virtualization station. We have no virtual machine created yet, so we're going to create one now. Again, I'm giving it a meaningful name, and we have to choose the location where we want to store the VM. And this is the share which I just created previously. Now comes an important part. This is my second insider tip. Choose pass-through for the CPU model, because if you choose so, the virtualization station can automatically assign a processor model that is compatible with the VM. This applies to both AMD and Intel processors running in your QNAP, and it's documented actually in the tutorial of the virtualization station. For the CPUs, choose whatever suits you. For the RAM, I'm assigning 8 gigabytes RAM of the available 17 gigabyte. And for the boot options, choose UEFI for Windows 11. Now comes another important part, creating the virtual drive and the virtual network adapter. You can choose IDE. This is for standard performance, but if you want to have more performance with your drive, choose Virtual.io. However, we will have to install drivers for the Virtual.io. The same applies to the network adapter. If you choose Intel, it will deliver you maximum 1 gigabit performance. If you want more, it's around 2 or 3 gigs per second. You choose Virtual.io, but again, we will have to install a driver for this during the installation process. Here, we assign the uploaded Windows 11 ISO image to the CD drive 1. So I'm choosing the ISO from the share where I uploaded it from my Mac. Then we need to also assign the Windows guest tools which are included with the QNAP virtualization station to a CD drive, because within this guest tools the drivers reside which we have to install during the installation process. Choose whatever suits you here. I usually make no adjustments because I don't need it. I don't check this box because I don't want the VM to start automatically after creation, and I'm going to tell you right away why so. So we're ready to creating the virtual machine. Here we click on cancel because I want to create the Windows credentials from within the Windows setup and not from within QNAP. Our blank VM is complete. Part A is done, and we're moving over to part B where we're installing Windows 11. I'm not using Firefox for this because the console in Firefox often remains black during the first booting. So for this step, I'm switching over to Chrome. We're going to our newly created VM, and here we go to console, which for us acts like a virtual monitor of the VM. Here we are. We can click on start, but we have to watch the screen prompt. And I'm going to show you right away why so. We click on start. And here we are asked to press any key on the keyboard to boot from the DVD. If we don't, we will end in the UEFI or in the BIOS settings, and that's not what we want. The first booting typically takes quite a while, and we're skipping this time. At 138, 140, and around 145, the first booting is complete. Now we're going to the Windows 11 setup, and I am switching back to Firefox because personally I prefer Firefox over Chrome. Again, we're going back to the console, our virtual monitor, and here we are in the Windows 11 setup. which of course you have done many times. So we're clicking through all these steps. I don't have a product key, we don't need it for this testing installation. We're choosing which version? I'm choosing Windows 11 Pro. I'm accepting. And here now comes another instrumental part, which is my 5th insider tip. We need to install the Virtual.io disk driver here because else the Windows installer won't recognize the Virtual.io disk. And therefore we can choose the guest tool CD, which we assigned to the second CD drive, right? Here it is. So we open this drive, and yes, there is no Windows 11. I was confused myself. No Windows 11. It turns out you have to choose Windows 10. So we're opening, and here again, I was a bit confused. We have to choose AMD 64 for both Intel and AMD processors, because this is not AMD, this is just the 64 version of the drivers, right? And that applies to both Intel processors and AMD processors, which are 64-bit. So we choose AMD, and now we see the list of drivers available within this folder. Here, we choose the Red Hat Virtual.io SCSI controller, which is nothing else than the disk driver for Virtual.io. Hence, I am going to select the Red Hat Virtual.io SCSI controller from the list and click on Install. So the driver is installed. And now we want to hit Next, I too. But don't click on Next yet, because before we want to install the Virtual.io network driver, which is my 6th insider tip. We could install this driver from within Windows 11 later using the Windows Guest Tool CD we attached to CD drive 2. However, it is more convenient to install it here. So we choose the Red Hat Virtual.io Ethernet adapter and install it. This time we can click on Next. We have successfully installed both Virtual.io drivers. And finally, we have reached the point where we're ready to install Windows 11. The Windows 11 installation typically is taking quite a while. I take the time again, and I am moving forward for your convenience. This time, it took around 17 minutes. And after 17 minutes, we come to the Windows 11 setup. Part B is completed. In part C, we go through the Windows 11 setup process. It's a lengthy process with setups and updates and reboots. It's taking another 10 minutes. I didn't take the time here. But after another 10 minutes, our Windows 11 VM indeed is live. And we can verify in the settings of the VM. Here is the name we gave the VM. Here is the pass-through we chosen. Here is the number of RAM we assigned. And here is the Virtual.io driver running now. And here is the network Virtual.io driver running too now. So indeed, we're all set and the third and last part is completed. We're done. Thank you for watching.